Hi guys. Okay, so today I have a bit of a fun game for us, and it's going to help us to understand about the reason that people bought into the stock market, but also how it was so disastrous when the Wall Street crash happened. Okay, so this is going to be based on how the boom happened, but also why the policies and the ideas that people were practicing in this time, such as hire purchase and buying on the margin, which is what the phrase we use when we talk about stocks and money, why it was so disastrous. So what I want you to think about and pretend is that you have $10 that you want to spend on stocks. Now you're going to go to a stockbroker and he is going to lend you $90 on the margin. Now, that was in the hope that you would go away and turn his money into a higher investment. So he would receive more money back than he gave you in the first place. So he's taking a risk, but he's also hoping for a reward because at this time, and as you'll see, everything looks great. Stocks and share prices are all based on the value of a company. Now, if that company is doing really well, if they're selling lots of products, if they're selling lots of goods, if they're in high demand, then their share price is going to rise. Now, sometimes this can happen just based on reputation because it's about supply and demand. If 100 people suddenly realize that everybody has Ford cars, they're all going to rush and buy stocks in Ford because it looks like Ford is doing really well. However, are Ford doing well? And what you might remember is that lots and lots of people are buying their cars on hire purchase. So even though they're purchasing the car, they're not actually putting all of that money back into Ford. So we have a problem of illusion during the 1920s. People think that all these stocks and all these companies are doing really, really well because they're selling lots and lots of products. But because they're not actually receiving all of the money at once or even ever sometimes, it's a bit of illusion. And stocks were rising, and then we have what we call the crash when when it becomes real and it becomes obvious that actually these companies don't have the money that we think they have. But anyway, I'm going to stop ruining all the surprises to come. So you've got $100, of which 10 was yours and 90 is from the stockbroker that you have to pay back at the end. Now, it's 1925 and you've got a choice. You can either buy stocks and shares in Ford, you can buy stocks and shares in Edison Radio, you can buy stocks and shares in SMEG, or you can buy stocks and shares in Big Farm, okay? And to help you out a little bit, I've just shown you here what that means you can purchase. So you've got your $100 and you can either go for any of the options below, either 10 shares in Ford, 20 shares in Edison Radio, 50 shares in Smeg Fridges, or 100 shares in the farm. Okay, up to you. And what I want you to do is keep a note of how many shares you have and what the value of your shares are, and then we can play the game. So 1926, the years are rolling on, and Ford has gone up, Edison Radio has gone up, Smeg Fridges have gone up, and Big Farm has also gone up. So that means that you now have this amount of profit. So if you went for Ford, you now have $50 of profit because your 10 shares are now worth $150 rather than $100. So if you were to cut your losses and sell them now, you would make $50 profit. Edison Radio, even better. You are in the money, guys, $100 profit. The same with Smeg Fridges. And if you had gone for the farm, well, you are practically a millionaire right now because look how much money you have got in the bag, $200. Now, remember, this is not real profit if you choose not to sell your shares. If you don't sell them, it's just imaginary price on a ticket, essentially. And you play with the risk that this could keep going up or it could crash. Now, if you've just made $200 profit, most people would probably think, oh, well, I'm just going to keep going. So you kept going, 1927. Here's what happens. All of our profit margins have gone up even higher because all of our share prices have gone up. And that's because people are just buying and buying and buying on higher purchase, more and more goods. So many more families are getting cars. So many more families are, getting radios and fridges, and the farm is doing really well, and everything looks fantastic. Okay, but Like I said, we're about to reach a crisis point. 1929 is the year we call the Wall Street crash, and I'm not going to go into extensively what happens. You need to wait for the video on that. But like I said, all these companies have been selling products on hire purchase, and that means they don't actually have the finances and the actual capital that people think they do, because people have not paid them all the money for the product. And in 1929, that, along with some other issues, means the stock market crashes. And suddenly, all these ordinary people are left with this. If you went for Ford, your shares, of which you originally had 10 shares of $100, are now only worth 20. The same for Edison Radio. Smeg Fridge, you've done slightly better, you've made an extra 5, and the farm, you've only lost 50. However, the problem is that you still owe your stockbroker $90 in return, but you can't pay them back. Okay, all of the money that you have would be going towards a stockbroker. You've lost your original investment, you're now in debt. And that was part of the massive problem that faced people in 1929 when the Wall Street crash happens. Okay, so that was just a little game there for you to see why people bought into the stock market and how so many ordinary people bought into the stock market at this time. This plays into our topic on the boom, because buying stocks and shares was part of the boom. Okay, the idea that the ordinary American man or woman can buy shares in anything, and you can be rich on the stock market just like everybody else, and this is fantastic, and we're all going to be so super wealthy. But it was an illusion and it didn't work. Okay, so stay tuned for the video on the Wall Street crash, and I hope you enjoyed that little game there.